All right, well, today I wanted to go through the men's soft Looksmaxxing tier list and explain my rationale behind it. Let's start with detear. The first thing you should avoid is tanning. For one, it's very damaging to your skin, and it contributes to premature aging. Using self-tanners never usually look good either. Most of the time when you try to use a self-tanner, especially if you have paler skin, you end up looking very orange, and it's very obvious to people around you that you're wearing it. I've tried this a few times in the past, and honestly, I've never had good results. I'm fairly pale most of the year. I can get a slight tan in the summertime if I'm outside a lot, but it always made me look very orange, like very red and very orange. This is pretty much the same with like most people with fair skin. It's honestly going to make you worse, and sometimes it's better to just embrace your fair skin and call it a day in this category. The next tier is C tier. I put jewelry and hygiene in this tier. The reason I put hygiene in here is because nobody needs to tell you to take a shower, wear deodorant. No one needs to tell you these things. Of course, you'll need to do this, but it's pretty baseline. It's something you need to do, but it doesn't really add any points if you have bad hygiene, but this could really hurt you. Jewelry is another one I'm not completely sold on. I've worn a slew of jewelry in the past. I usually wear either a silver or leather watch with or without a like brown or black bracelet. That's usually what I do for jewelry. I think jewelry can definitely add to your style a bit, but I don't think it makes a huge difference. It shows off your personality a bit, but you can also definitely overdo it. I see a lot of younger guys in their teens, early to mid 20s, and they just really go overboard with the jewelry. They'll have, 2 earrings in one ear. They'll be wearing 6 or 7 bracelets on each arm. They're wearing a watch. They're wearing a bunch of like 3 or 4 like silver chains. It really just kind of, one person who does pull this off pretty well is Brian Unchained. He's another YouTuber that talks about similar stuff. He pulls it off really well. I think if you have a certain look, you can pull off jewelry really well. But I think for most guys, sticking to 1 or 2 good pieces, maybe a good watch and a good bracelet, or a nice necklace and a nice bracelet, something kind of low key, I think that's gonna do more to showcase than having 15 to 20 pieces of jewelry that you're wearing. That's just my take on it, but other people may have a different experience. The next tier is B tier. This is the tier where these things can help, but they're not going to make or break you if you don't have them. These are good to haves and can definitely help you if a woman is attracted to you. At the top of this list, we have colored contacts. Colored contacts are really interesting. They can definitely help your attractiveness a bit. If you normally have brown eyes, green or blue colored contacts can definitely make you more appealing. I think in general, people are much more drawn to, eyes with color in them, whether it's, baby blue or, light green or even like a darker type of blue. Any type of color in your eyes, kind of helps you stand out. At least here in the US, especially where I live, most people have brown eyes. Most people just have brown eyes. I'll even say myself, like when you're talking to somebody who has like blue eyes or green eyes as an example, you're more like, I'm not saying you're more interested in the conversation, but you're kind of more drawn to them. And I think that's how most people are when they see colored eyes. They're just nice to look at. In general, I know there's no, genetic advantage to having, green or blue eyes. They're just nicer to look at in general. Eyes are the first facial features people usually see. And when you have, lighter eyes, you're just going to be nicer to look at in general. Although the downside of colored contacts is that they're not very practical. You can't sleep with colored contacts. And if you start wearing colored contacts, people are going to kind of find it weird, especially if they know you. But colored contacts can come into play. Like if you're going to a place where no one knows you, say you're going on like a solo vacation or something like that, you could wear them during the day or on a night out, And if you talk to enough people and enough women, you'll definitely notice a difference in how they respond to you and how they treat you. I've worn colored contacts once a couple years back, and I went to like a festival, and I have hazel eyes, so they do have some color, but I wore light blue, like light baby blue colored contacts, and I noticed a big difference in how women responded initially. And it's certainly colored contacts can definitely give you a bonus, to say the least. So fashion is going to be in B tier as well. Fashion can definitely help your attractiveness. Now, it's not about buying the trendiest clothes or the most designer clothes, the more popular clothes. It's more about finding clothes that are going to make your body look like it's in good shape. So what really works is wearing clothes that generally fit you very well and match your skin tone. This is going to help you. Wearing certain colors like black and brown and navy blue, these types of colors are going to make you appear slimmer. Also wearing clothes that have like vertical lines, these will make you appear slightly taller. And also wearing a suit jacket, it makes your shoulders appear more broad. So when you think about fashion, it's all about figuring out how you can use fashion to either make yourself appear taller or make yourself appear like you're in better shape. That's what it's about. It's not buying the flashiest clothes. Like, this is also a problem I see a lot of younger guys doing as well, is they'll see, Machine Gun Kelly wearing like, pink, and they'll see like another rapper wearing like ridiculous colored outfits. And then they try to wear those same outfits, but they really just end up making themselves look like a clown, because, celebrities are one of the only types of people that can get away with like horrendous fashion. And, obviously celebrities do it to get attention, and they do it to get more publicity. So at the end of the day, figuring out how you can, incorporate fashion to make yourself appear more attractive, that's what's going to help, your fashion game, so to say. Tattoos are also on B tier list. Tattoos are a really interesting way to kind of showcase your personality, your vibe. And when tattoos are high quality, they can definitely add sex appeal from a woman's perspective. Tattoos, sometimes they definitely have the kind of more bad boy, dangerous, like dark triad vibe to them, and sometimes make you appear more aesthetic. Something interesting about tattoos is, let's just say you have like skinnier arms or like skinnier legs, and you have tattoos on that arm, or you have tattoos on your leg. It does actually look fairly appealing. If you don't have a degree of muscle, it can help kind of with the contrast of having not a lot of muscle. And I also think tattoos can look very good on someone who has a good amount of muscle as well. It just kind of adds to your overall vibe, so to say, when you're interacting with women. But tattoos, on the contrast, can also really hurt your attractiveness if they're low quality or trashy. So as an example, I know a guy from high school that he got his favorite hockey team's logo on the front of his neck. It's like the left side of his neck. And also on the back of the neck, he got the words "problem child" written. So they can definitely come off trashy to a lot of girls as well. This is another problem I see. It's a lot of the times it's younger guys in their early mid-20s, sometimes teens. They'll see their favorite celebrity with a certain tattoo, and they'll get something pretty similar, and it just only ultimately makes them look worse than what they looked like before. But all in all, tattoos can definitely help your appeal. The most real example I can give is, there was this girl named Brandy. She's like an Instagram model. She had a boyfriend who he was probably slightly above average looking, but he was covered in tattoos from like, all of, his face tattoos, neck tattoos, all over his body. And sometimes tattoos can definitely help you pull women that are out of your league. It's not going to happen all the time, but I can say for someone, like, I have a visible tattoo as well, and occasionally I'll have a girl, come over and say, "Hey, what's your tattoo?" or "I like your tattoo." And it doesn't make you, I don't think it makes you more physically attractive, but I think if you're at least decent looking and you find a girl who does like tattoos and appreciates them, it can make you a little bit more attractive. It's like one of those like bonuses, like cologne, that can help you a little bit. Cologne is the last on the B tier list. By wearing a cologne with a nice signature scent, you're just going to smell much better. So it's just pleasant to be around someone who's wearing a nice cologne. Smell is one of the senses, and I can say without a doubt that women who are attracted to you will definitely see it as a huge bonus. And cologne sometimes can be, what takes a girl from being somewhat attracted to you to being like very attracted to you within the span of just a couple minutes. I've experienced it. Many other guys have. It's definitely a plus, but it's not going to be like a huge game changer. The next tier is A tier. This is the looksmaxxing that will make a solid difference in your attractiveness in your dating life. Building muscle is at the top of the list here. I know there's a lot of debate within this community about how much muscle helps. Women do like a man who has some degree of muscle. It's been scientifically proven that women find a high shoulder to waist ratio more attractive. So having some degree of muscle also shows that you're in good physical shape. I think subconsciously when women look at a guy and you have some muscle mass, or if you're just athletic and toned, it shows that you're in good physical shape. And I think subconsciously they may look at you as you having more of an ability to protect, at least more than a guy who's like very overweight or is very frail. Teeth whitening, I would say, is second on the A tier list. Teeth whitening can definitely help a lot. White teeth in general are just much more attractive. Your teeth show every single time you laugh, you smile or laugh. So having white teeth is overall a good indicator of dental health and dental genetics. Beards are also an E tier. Beards can definitely help you improve your attractiveness, especially if you don't have a strong jawline and chin. By growing light to heavy stubble or a fully groomed beard, this can make you appear more masculine and make your jaw appear stronger if you contour it right. You really need to contour it right. So you definitely want to concentrate on like shaving the hair that's around your cheekbones, and you want to kind of shave your shave the hair that's on your neck. You want to make sure you don't shave above the neckline. That's really key. But myself, when I started to be able to grow like a fuller beard, I tend to have light to medium stubble, and that actually helps my jaw and my chin appear more prominent. And it can definitely help you as long as you have decent bone structure. Having like light to medium stubble, it can definitely make a difference in your overall attractiveness. The last on A tier list is skincare. Skincare is one of those things that's pretty mandatory, and people notice when you have good skin. One of the keys to having good skin, it's not necessarily what moisturizer you use or what cleanser you use, but it's really trying to improve your diet. So when you concentrate on eating, more green vegetables, whole fruits, lean proteins, like chicken, pork, ground beef, steak, and kind of avoiding the more processed foods like chips and soda, candy, chocolate, that's when you're going to start to see a nice difference in your skin. I think as far as a skincare routine, just using a cleanser in the morning and using a moisturizer morning and night, that usually does the trick. People like Aaron Marino, they definitely, obviously he's the creator of Tiege Hanley, and they make it seem like throwing on some eye cream and some moisturizer, it's going to turn you into a huge ladies man. But I'm here to tell you it's not the case. It's at the end of the day, skincare is kind of like maintaining what you have. And it's just trying to make your skin appear as smooth as possible. One thing I'll say is if you're struggling with bad skin, is I would see a dermatologist and I would have them subscribe you tretinoin or hyaluronic acid. Those are going to help your skin in a lot of ways. And then also if you have eye bags or any sort of dark circles, what I've done in the past is I've gone to get a concealer, like a light concealer, and buy a concealer that matches your skin tone. That's probably the biggest thing that I've seen really work to get rid of those under eye bags, and also getting sufficient sleep as well. That definitely helps. The next tier is S tier. These are the big game changers. These will help boost your attractiveness by far the most. The first on this list is lean maxing. When someone sees you for the first time, the first thing they notice is your face. When you get down to a lower body fat, your facial features are just going to become more defined. When you go from having 20 to 25% body fat to around 10 to 12%, your face looks drastically different. Your jawline, your chin, your cheekbones, they just become more prominent. And your other facial features, such as your nose, will look slimmer as well. Everything just looks better. You can look like a completely different person when you lose a significant amount of weight, or even just sometimes like 10 to 15 pounds can make you look a lot different. If you're going to do any Looksmaxxing, this is by far your best bet. You really want to focus on, making sure you're burning more calories than you're taking in, and you want to try to figure out, based on your weight, based on your height, what's an ideal weight range for you. And then, depending on your lifestyle, it's trying to figure out a way to get to the most optimal weight for your height. And this, from what I found, it's what's going to make your face appear very appealing at the end of the day. Like, even if you don't have good bone structure, just losing the fat underneath your chin, the submental fat, losing the fat around your cheeks, it's just going to make you look 10 times better. It's 10 times better than wearing a nice cologne, getting tattoos, wearing good clothes. Like, telling you lean maxing is the best possible thing you can do for your overall attractiveness, for your overall health, and just for your overall life. It's hands down the number one thing you can do for your looks. When I used to be very overweight, I literally looked like I had a triple chin. I looked like Shrek. And when I lost a significant amount of weight and I got down to around, even below 15% body fat, I look like a completely different person, like unrecognizable from years and years ago. And I've seen many transformations where, guys have lost, 50 to over 100 pounds. And some of them look super, super different at the end of the day. A lot of Looksmaxxing channels, they'll talk about, skincare, hairstyles, until they're blue in the face. But I really think if you're going to do one thing in Looksmaxxing, and it's really not a lot of money, it's just trying to lose weight, get out there, go for runs, try to eat clean. I'm telling you, this may not drastically change your life, but it will change your life in a lot of ways, and it's by far the best way to do it. The second biggest game changer is another often underrated one, but it's shoe lifts. Height is super important to women, and shoe lifts can help you add up to 2 to 3 inches to your height. So, let's just say you pair shoe lifts with boots, like a pair of black boots or Nike Air Max or Jordans. You can add a solid 3 to 4 inches to your height. This makes a massive difference in how women perceive you. The whole 6 foot and up thing, it's real. Like it's very real. Like, I'm a taller guy myself, and a lot of women find it attractive. I think all women find taller men attractive. the combination of wearing lifts and, shoes that have a bigger heel on them, it's such a game changer. I can't even describe it. Luckily, myself being around 6'2", I don't wear shoe lifts very often, but I have worn them in the past. Going to clubs and different types of events, and I can tell you when I wear lifts with certain shoes, I go from being about 6'2" to being about 6'5", closer to 6'6", and it just makes a massive difference. The one tip I would say is, try not to go overboard with it. So let's just say you're 5'7", and you want to be 5'10". What I would do is I would buy like a pair of like black boots, like they could be Clark's, they could be Aldo's, like something you would get from like a decent shoe store. They're typically going to have a heel that's about 1.5 inches, and you could put a 1.5 inch lift in that shoe and you'll be 3 inches taller. That's what I would do if you're going out to a bar, you're going out to a club, something like that. In your everyday life, I would stick to just something more simple. I would stick to like, sometimes there's just like smaller wedges that are, maybe a 1/2 inch or sometimes 3/4 of an inch that you can get at like Walmart or something like that. And you can just get one of those and then just, wear a nice pair of black boots or brown boots, something like that. And this will give you a solid, 2.5 inches to your height. So, you're 5'7" and you'll be 5'9.5". This makes a huge difference. I can't tell you how much it can of a game changer it really is. If you're 5'9", now you're 6 foot. If you're 6 foot, now you're 6'3". Those extra few inches can go a really long way. A lot of people, I see this on Instagram all the time. I always see the leg lengthening like videos. And I think if you have a lot of money laying around and you don't care, you have 6 months set aside to, recover from it, that's the decision. That's a decision you can make. Honestly, like I wouldn't ever want to take the risk, even if I was maybe if I was shorter, I would think differently about this. But I would never want to compromise my health and like my body, my legs for a few inches of height. I couldn't do it. But more power to you if that's what you want to do, and you find a doctor that is gonna do that for you. But at least here in the U.S., I know I believe you can't do it in the U.S. I believe, I could be wrong. You might have to go somewhere else. But overall, I wouldn't recommend leg lengthening surgery. I just don't think it's a good long-term solution. The last game changer has to do with hair. Hair is a game changer, man. Hair is life. The more you have of it, the more attractive you're going to be perceived at the end of the day. The key is pretty simple. It's just to have good hair density, especially in the hairline. If you're struggling with balding, there's a lot of solutions for you. I went through years of hair loss, and I decided to go down the hair transplant route. There's a lot more solutions nowadays, and if you don't want to be bald, you don't have to be. And that's the thing to remember at the end of the day, is that you can opt to, one, get on finasteride, get on minoxidil, or some sort of combination pill that some doctors can subscribe. You can go down the hair transplant route, or if you're completely gone, if you're a Norwood 7, you're 25 years old, you can still go the hair system route. I know wearing a hair system can feel very daunting to people. I personally have never used one. But I know nowadays, just looking at the different videos, like Jake Kent, he's a YouTuber that I watch every once in a while. He does videos on hair systems, and from what I can tell, they look a lot better now than they did, 10, 20 years ago. So if you are somebody who's completely bald and you want to have the appearance of hair, going down that hair system route is something to at least look into. At the end of the day, you only get one life, and if you care about hair and you want to have hair, that's the route I would look down. If you go down the hair transplant route, there's a lot of strategy, and when I'm gonna make a future video on hair transplants and kind of like a guide into going into it and things like that. But there's a lot of things you can do with hair transplants to make yourself appear like you have more of a full head of hair. You can also shave your head, and if you have good bone structure, you'll still be able to pull it off. There's a YouTuber. His name is Andy Elliott. He's like one of those car salesman trainers. He pulls it off pretty well. And then, of course, Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. But you need good bone structure. Most guys don't have good bone structure, and if they shave their head, they're not gonna look so good. You can also wear hair fibers to thicken up the appearance of your hair. In terms of hair fibers, I've used Topic, I've used Heratin, I've used like 4 or 5 different brands, and to be honest, the best brand I've found is Heratin. They really like stick to the hair a lot more. They make your hair appear a lot more full. Topic can feel very like cakey, has that like cakey kind of appearance, especially if you don't have good density, especially in the hairline. I really think if you're going to go the hair transplant route, I think concentrating on getting a good hairline with decent density, and trying to eliminate the spaces in between the hair, that's what's going to be most ideal in the long run, going down that route. In terms of a hairstyle, really it's just, I found that longer hairstyles typically look better for most guys, with the hair longer on top and the hair on the sides just being a little bit shorter. That tends to work. Don't overcomplicate it. There's a lot of good hair tutorials out there. And last thing I'll say is like finding a hairstyle that kind of suits your age as well is really ideal. You don't want to be someone who's 35, trying to, rock the mushroom haircut. It's not gonna look very good on you. And but yeah, that's my take. I just think those are the different ways you can improve your looks, and some of these things are gonna drastically help, and others are just gonna give you a slight bonus. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you've gotten value out of this, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to like. Feel free to leave me a comment down below, letting me know which of these really helped you. Until next time, take care.